At 2:46 a.m. on a dark, unforgiving Dallas highway, the illusion of human invincibility was violently shattered in a cloud of burning rubber and twisted metal. The boxing world watched the breaking news footage and assumed they were witnessing the final, tragic chapter of a unified champion's life. But death reached out for him, and Errol simply slipped the punch, stepping back into the light when the world was already preparing to turn it off. In early 2026, he stands not as a tragedy, but as a sovereign empire. With a net worth holding steady at a staggering $15 million, he has turned his physical survival into a multi-generational financial fortress. The true scale of his victory is found behind the heavy, security-monitored gates of his $1.4 million, 60-acre private ranch estate in DeSoto, Texas. This modern concrete and glass stronghold features private training facilities and that the champion rebuilds his body and his mind, far from the chaotic glare of the cameras. But the real treasure of his sanctuary is parked in the driveway. His garage is a curated gallery of high-performance machinery worth well over $1 million. When he wants pure, unrestrained speed, he turns to his flagship Ferrari 458 Italia, a 562-horsepower masterpiece. It is flanked by a Lamborghini Gallardo, a $229,000 V10 animal representing the sharp, aggressive, wedge-shaped angles of his man-down brand. For the daily commute, he relies on a blacked-out Mercedes-AMG G-Wagon, letting the guttural, metallic bark of the twin side-exit exhaust speak for his presence without him ever having to say a word. The lineup continues with a raw display of American muscle, his custom Chevrolet Corvette C7 Stingray. This deep growling beast, with its menacing center-mounted quad exhausts and aggressive hood vents, captures his raw Texas roots. Sitting next to it is his Range Rover SUV, a satin-finished, road-owning titan of luxury that glides through the oppressive Texas heat, keeping the champion isolated in a quiet world of double-pane glass and hand-stitched leather. When he wants to turn heads with futuristic design, Errol steps in his hybrid BMW i8 Supercar. Visualize the dramatic upward swing of its scissor doors, revealing a high-tech cockpit wrapped in sleek aerodynamic lines that blend speed with modern sustainability. And for those moments when he travels with his entire inner circle, he calls upon a massive Cadillac Escalade, a rolling fortress of chrome and leather that dominates the blacktop and represents the ultimate executive transport for an elite athlete at the top of his game. On his wrist and around his neck, this relentless pursuit of precision and flash continues. He is a noted collector of high-end horology, often seen wearing a custom, diamond-encrusted Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, classic Rolex Day-Date models dripping with ice, or the ultra-exclusive, lightweight engineering of a Richard Mille. This high-status lifestyle extends far beyond the pavement. When the Texas highways limit his movement, he commands the skies with private jet access and retreats to the open ocean on luxury yacht experiences, taking his sovereign empire into both the air and the sea. But in 2026, his crown is heavy with the physical and mental scars of a war that began long before the red Ferraris and the glittering watches. Before we analyze the legendary rise, the terrifying crashes, and the quiet reality of the truth, hit the like button, subscribe, and join us for this deep dive into a legacy built on iron, resilience, and silence. Born on March 3, 1990, in Long Island, New York, and raised in the humid, oppressive heat of Texas, he was a unique genetic blend of Jamaican resilience and American strength. When he was just 15 years old, under the watchful eye of elite trainer Derek James, he didn't just train, he obsessed. He adopted the man-down philosophy, a grim, uncompromising mindset that assumes every single round is a fight for survival, and that the opponent across from you is trying to take everything you love. He molded himself into a relentless southpaw puzzle, perfecting a devastating check hook and a piston jab that felt like a lead pipe striking bone. This jab became his ultimate weapon, a range-finding laser that disrupted an opponent's rhythm, blinding them before the crushing power of his left hand arrived to finish the job. His amateur career was a warning shot to the entire welterweight division, stacking an incredible record of 135 wins against just 12 losses. He claimed 3 consecutive U.S. national championships before representing the United States at the 2012 London Olympics, returning home as the most pro-ready prospect on the planet. When he turned professional on November 9, 2012, the boxing world quickly realized they had a massive problem. Spence didn't shout. He didn't posture. He simply dismantled who worked the ribs and the liver until his opponents physically wilted under the sheer accumulation of impact. In 2017, he traveled thousands of miles into the hostile, raucous territory of Sheffield, England, in front of 27,000 screaming fans desperate to see him fail. Spence systematically broke Kell Brook's eye socket and his spirit, staging a hostile takeover of the welterweight division on enemy soil. The unifications followed in rapid succession. He outboxed the legendary Mikey Garcia in a masterclass of ring intelligence and engaged in a savage 2019 Fight of the Year against Shawn Porter. Porter brought pure, unadulterated chaos, transforming the bout into a brutal basement brawl. Spence countered with structured, relentless brutality, dropping the Warrior in the late rounds to secure the WBC belt and prove he could swim in the deepest, darkest waters of the sport and still find his way back to the shore. And the fast life of a champion began to create invisible cracks in his preparation. Rumors circulated about his increasingly difficult weight cuts, with whispers that the champion was struggling to stay within the strict 147-pound limit as his body matured and grew naturally heavier, suggesting that the luxury of his success was slowly eroding the razor-sharp edge that had made him feared. Long-term prospects. The bill finally came due in 2023 in a highly anticipated unification against Terence Crawford. For Errol, yet when the end came, he offered no excuses. Acknowledging the loss with the grace of a true king who knows his legacy, beneath the multi-million-dollar paydays and the wreckage of his luxury cars, Errol remains a high-status enigma. Far removed from the man-down persona, he is a deeply private, devoted father to his 3 children, his daughters, Ivy and Violet, and his son, Errol III, who carries his name and his legacy. He shares his life with his longtime partner, Deborah, choosing the quiet, grounded stability of his Texas ranch over the fleeting, hollow promises of the party scene. His personal life is a strictly guarded vault, a sanctuary where he can simply step out of the spotlight and be a dad. These near-death experiences did not break his spirit. They transformed him into a visionary, long-term businessman. He realized that the ring has an expiration date, but an empire does not. He leaned heavily into his man-down brand, converting a simple catchphrase into a highly successful merchandise and promotional powerhouse. But his empire expands far beyond the pastures. Spence has diversified into residential and commercial real estate across Texas, securing passive income streams through retail and office spaces that perfectly align with his lifestyle brand ambitions. This financial foresight proved crucial during his period of ring inactivity following the Crawford bout, by backing his brand with powerhouse corporate endorsements like Everlast and Body Armor. Alongside his custom luxury alliance with Avian Jewelers, Errol has successfully commercialized his image, transitioning seamlessly from a world-class athlete to a self-sustaining financial mogul. Yet, a true empire is built on more than just commercial acquisitions. It is built on the lives it transforms. For Errol, giving back to the community that forged him is the quiet heartbeat of his entire operation of the sweet science to offer local youth an alternative to the streets. He teaches them that the ring is a metaphor for life, a place where you will inevitably get hit, but where greatness is determined entirely by your willingness to stand back up. Today, in early 2026, the final act of this incredible odyssey is being written. As he prepares to move up to the 154-pound division for a highly anticipated, legacy-defining clash with the dangerous Tim Tsai, Errol is focused entirely on his legacy. He is the truth, not because he is untouched, but because he has looked at the end of his life multiple times and simply kept walking forward. He is a reminder that greatness isn't what you say when the cameras are bright and the microphones are hot. It's what you do when the world thinks you're already dead and you decide to keep moving forward anyway, step by calculated step. If you found this journey of survival and sovereignty compelling, hit the like button and subscribe. To see another story of bloodline dominance and iron discipline, check out our cinematic breakdown of Caroline Dubois next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you ringside.